Hi there, this is Tata, and welcome to the Wrestling Time Post Show. It is Wednesday, June 21st, 2023, and tonight I will be talking about AEW Dynamite. Okay, so tonight's Dynamite was the go home show to Forbidden Door, and we kicked things off with the Hardys versus the Guns. If you guys remember, the Guns issued a challenge to the Hardy Boys to see who's the best brother tag team in AEW is. So Matt Hardy and Austin Gunn start this match off. And I actually really enjoyed this match. I thought it was a pretty fun little match. So at some point, the Hardys do double team Austin Gunn. Then they double team both Austin and Colton. You have Matt Hardy doing a side effect to Austin. And you have Matt Hardy doing a twist of fate to Austin Gunn. But then Colton puts Austin's foot on the rope, so it breaks up the pin. And Jeff Hardy spears Austin into Matt Hardy, who was pinning Colton. Then we got a double DDT to the Guns by Jeff Hardy. And then here's something interesting. You guys remember how the Guns got involved in Bullet Club Gold's match? Well, here Juice Robinson causes a distraction, and Jay White shoves Jeff Hardy off the rope, and then the Guns hit a 310 to Jeff Hardy, and the Guns here are victorious. So it kind of seems to me like there's something going on with the Guns and Bullet Club Gold. There's no official confirmation that the Guns are members of Bullet Club Gold, but it wouldn't, based on what's been happening, it wouldn't surprise me if that's the case. So there is a reason as to why the Hardy Boys lost. So here's the reason. So Fightful Select reports that Jeff Hardy won't be on AEW TV for a while again. He's not going to be performing on AEW TV during their trip to Canada. Fightful has learned that due to Hardy's arrest, he is unable to get into Canada and will be written off television as a result for the time being. It's possible AEW can or will do pre-tapes with Jeff Hardy. So there you go. That's the reason why they lost and why there was a post-down assault on the Hardys. The Bullet Club Gold and the Guns attacked them. It was their way to write them off for a little bit. So after that, Ricky Starks and FTR come out to aid the Hardys. And of course, we are in Chicago. So who comes out to help? CM Punk comes out to help. And then he challenges Bullet Club Gold to a match on Collision. And if you look closely, he says he's a Collision guy. He's not even supposed to be there. So that is how tonight's Dynamite starts. And actually, it was a really good way to start off Dynamite. I actually thought it was a good match. Like I said, I enjoyed it. But what did you guys think of the opening match and the opening segment? Or you guys liked it? What are your thoughts on the Guns losing to the Hardy Boys? Let me know in the live chat or in the comments. Next, we get the Concession Sand Brawl. It's Mark Briscoe versus Jeff Jarrett. And I actually didn't know what to expect with this, but it actually turned out a lot better than I imagined. This was actually a really fun match. They started in the concession stand, and Double J threw popcorn at Mark Briscoe. Then Mark hit Jeff Jarrett with a trash can. He sent him crashing through the table. Then he hit him again with the trash can. Double J got sent into that big pulse thing. Mark Briscoe using mustard. He sprayed Jeff Jarrett with mustard. And then Jeff Jarrett threw paper plates to Mark Briscoe. And then there was this one spot where Mark Briscoe was throwing hot dogs at Jeff Jarrett's face, which I thought was hilarious. And then this lady comes out, and it ended up being Karen Jarrett. She threw ketchup into Mark Briscoe's face. And he set up a ladder and he put Jeff Jarrett on the table. But before he could do anything, Sanjay Dunn climbed the ladder and he sent Mark crashing through the table. And then it comes back out into the arena, and Lethal, Sanjay Dunn, and Jeff Jarrett are beating down on Mark Briscoe. And it looked like Jay Lethal was going to get ready to set up Mark Briscoe to put him through a table, but Papa Briscoe ended up putting Jay Lethal through the table with the chokeslam. Then he hit Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal with lariats, and Karen Jarrett gave Papa Briscoe a low blow. Satan Singh came out and he chokeslammed Mark Briscoe in the ring. And then the Lucha Brothers' best friends and Christopher Daniels all got involved in this. They gave super kicks to Satan Singh, and Mark Briscoe was victorious here. So I thought it was a really fun match. I really wish it would have stayed in the concession stand. I thought that would have made the match a lot more fun. But hey, I actually really enjoyed it. Concession stand brawls are a Memphis wrestling classic. Double J was right. It was right at home, I bet. Seemed like it. But I thought it was a really fun match. What did you guys think of this concession stand brawl? I kind of wish it would have stayed at the concession stand. I thought that would have made it a lot more interesting. But hey, you know. So we had a Blackpool Combat Club backstage promo. And John Moxley saying that there's only 3 letters that matter, and that's BCC. And for Forbidden Door, they've assembled an elite squad. I like how he calls Konosuke Takeshita tall, dark, and sexy. And they challenged the elite to 5-on-5. And Bryan Danielson says he's going to wait till the end of the show to call out Okada. So it's interesting that it's 5-on-5 when we know Kenny Omega is facing Will Ospreay. And later on in the night, we find out who the elite will have on their team. So next we get a trios match. It is Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, and Minoru Suzuki versus Darius Martin, Action Andretti, and AR Fox. This was also a fun match. I really enjoyed this match. If I had the favorite moment or favorite spot in this match, it is when Chris Jericho did his and Sammy Guevara's pose. Like, he did Sammy's pose, and then Minoru Suzuki was going to do the Chris Jericho pose. But I don't know why the cameraman thought it was a good idea to cut to Sammy Guevara's face. So you don't fully see, like, you see Minoru Suzuki starting the pose, but you don't see the execution of the pose because the cameraman decided to pin the camera on Sammy Guevara's face. So, but I thought this was a really fun match. And of course, Minoru Suzuki, Chris Jericho, and Sammy Guevara are victorious. Then afterwards, we get Chris Jericho cutting a promo talking about how him and Sting were in the ring for the first time ever. It was a monumental moment in wrestling. It has never been done before. He says that he's known Sting for a long time. And he calls Sting a whore because he shows up wherever it has the highest bidder. Jericho tells Darby and Sting to find a partner to team with them at Forbidden Door, and he doesn't think Sting will accept. So Sting and Darby Allin come out, and Sting puts his arm around Jericho and asks him why he's so tight, and that he needs some time with Jericho, and he plans to have some time with Jericho on Sunday. And so he and Darby Allin accept Chris Jericho's challenge. And Darby Allin tells Chris Jericho to remember he's made a lot of enemies, and he will find out on Saturday who their partner will be. So who do you guys think will be Sting's partner for this match? Like Darby Allin said, Chris Jericho has made a lot of enemies. I know some people were saying maybe the Great Muta. But who do you guys think? Let me know in the live chat or in the comment section down below. But I guess you have to wait and find out on Collision to see who they choose as their partner. Okay, so we get an elite backstage promo, and Hangman says they have friends all over. And he says that BCC is using the numbers advantage since Omega has a match with Will Ospreay. Hangman says that Kenny Omega says that they found a friend in an unlikely place, and it's revealed to be Eddie Kingston. He says he doesn't like the Elite, but he hates Claudio Castelloni more, and that Eddie Kingston will make the announcement on to who their 5th partner is going to be. And we find out at the end of the night who it's going to be, and I'll get to that when I go over what happens at the end. So you get an Adam Cole, baby, in ring promo. And he's basically talking about how MJF gave him the hardest match of his career because he did everything in his power and he still didn't win. He says that technically MJF didn't win either. And that it was cowardly of Max not to accept the extra 5 minutes. And he talks about how in order to be the greatest champion there is, he has to accept all challenges. And MJF has never beaten Cole. Of course, Adam Cole calls out MJF. And so MJF comes out. And the crowd starts booing him. So he goes on to say, when the world champion is holding the microphone, we keep our poor mouth shut. I don't know about you guys, but that kind of reminded me of when the Miz says, when his hand goes up, your mouth goes shut. So this doesn't sit well with the crowd. So they start chanting, shut the fuck up to MJF. I mean, that's not the only thing they chant. They also chant a coward chant. They chant bullshit and they chant asshole for MJF. So MJF congratulates Adam Cole because he came back and he came back better than ever. And he's the one who dragged it out of Adam Cole. He says that he's worried about Adam Cole since he suffered a lot of blows to the head and he's lost track of time. And if he hadn't won, he would have beaten Cole. Of course, typical MJF retort. And MJF says that because he cares so much about Adam Cole's well-being and as a friend, he won't accept the rematch. Adam Cole says that he figured that would be the case, so why not fight now? And the one thing I like about this is that Tony Schiavone, who was on commentary, stands up and he says he had an announcement, and they both tell him to shut up at the same time, which I thought was so hilarious. So AEW is doing this blind tag tournament, and apparently Adam Cole and MJF will team up in that tournament. And then Tanahashi appears on screen and he asks MJF what kind of champion he is, but he dares MJF to show up. And so Adam Cole says that MJF must think Tanahashi's better than him, otherwise he would accept. So this is why they start chanting coward. And so the match is made official, MJF versus Tanahashi, and Adam Cole wishes him good luck. So I actually really like this segment, and I know somewhere down the road we're going to get MJF versus Adam Cole again because there's no way that their match ends in a draw and we don't get a follow-up to it. We get Orange Cassidy and Katsuyori Shibata versus Zack, Sabre Jr. and Daniel Garcia. This is another fun match. Like, up until this point, like, Dynamite was amazing. Like, I actually was really enjoying Dynamite, and I don't know about you guys, but I felt like 2 hours flew by really quickly. Daniel Garcia busting out some moves during this match. I like how Shibata also does like the Cassidy kicks. At some point, Daniel Garcia got I guess he got busted open. And so like he was bleeding from his mouth. But Zack Sabre Jr. and Daniel Garcia are victorious, and at the end, they're holding up the international title, and we find out we're gonna get a 4-way for the international title. It's gonna be Daniel Garcia versus Orange Cassidy versus Zack Sabre Jr. versus Karatsu Shibata. This should be an interesting match. I'm pretty sure by Orange Cassidy's gonna be victorious in that. He's been getting lucky so far, so I don't see why that would be any different. Okay. We get a Will Ospreay backstage interview, and he's basically saying that he's going to need to get a lot of security. And Don Callis shows up, and he says the AEW isn't going to get him that security, but he can. So it kind of seems to me like he's trying to recruit Will Ospreay into his new family that he has going on, especially because Will Ospreay is facing Kenny Omega for that IWGP United States title. What if Don Callis screws Kenny Omega at Forbidden Door? What do you guys think about that? Let me know in the live chat or in the comment section down below. We get a TBS Championship match. It's Taya Valkyrie versus Kris Statlander. And it's not that this was a bad match, but I'm really surprised here that Kris Statlander won clean and Taya Valkyrie didn't do anything. Like it kind of seemed to me like they were gonna turn her heel. So you would think that she would attack Kris Statlander at the end of this match, but she didn't. So Taya and Valkyrie is 0-3 so far. But this isn't a bad match. That, when you think about it, that technically was the main event, because afterwards what followed is just a segment. It wasn't really a match. It was Eddie Kingston coming out to the ring and basically saying that he doesn't like or respect the Bucks, but he can't stand Claudio Castelloni. He doesn't care if he and Jon Moxley have a problem. So Jon Moxley comes out and he confronts Eddie Kingston. And Jon Moxley tells Eddie Kingston that he's drawing a line, but Eddie Kingston says Moxley drew that line by teaming with Claudio. And so we find out who the fifth member of Team of the Elite is, and it turns out to be none other than the Stone Pitbull, the Tomohiro Ishii. So then a little brawl breaks out, and Bryan Danielson calls out Okada and says that he doesn't matter if he doesn't come out, he will stomp on Ishii. So of course Okada comes out and he confronts Bryan, and he hits the Rainmaker to Yuta, but not to Bryan Danielson. And that is how Dynamite goes off the air. And if you ask me, I thought tonight's show was really, really good. That it was a really good go-home show. That is how you do a go-home show. It's supposed to get you excited for the pay-per-view, and this did its job. It delivered. Now, there's another thing I want to talk about. So they announced the Owen Hart bracket. So this is the women's. And it's interesting that Ruby Soho and Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, are going to face each other in the opening round, because they were in the finals last year, and Britt Baker beat Ruby Soho. So who do you guys think is going to win the women's? I think it's going to be an interesting matchup, to say the least. But I think maybe I think Britt will probably beat Ruby. Sky Blue will probably beat Anna. Maybe Athena beats Billy Starks. And maybe Willow Nightingale beats Nyla Rose. We'll see. And for the men, we're getting CM Punk versus Kojima. And the reason why that's happening is because we're not getting CM Punk versus Kenta at Forbidden Door. Fightful Select reported that New Japan sources confirmed to them that Kenta and CM Punk had been planned for the event, but as of this weekend, it wasn't happening. They weren't told the reasons why. It was also reported that Kenta had previously expressed to New Japan and AEW that he isn't facing CM Punk at Forbidden Door. So there you have it. That is why we're getting CM Punk in the Owen Hart tournament. He's definitely, I feel like the men's one is a little bit more easier to predict than the women's. So I think CM Punk is beating Kojima. Samoa Joe's probably going to defeat Roderick Strong, and you're going to get Punk versus Samoa Joe. That should be good. Powerhouse Hobbs is probably going to beat Dustin, and then Ricky and Juice Robinson. I'd say Ricky, unless Jay White gets involved. Then I say Juice, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be Ricky. But overall, what were your guys' thoughts on tonight's Dynamite and the Owen Hart tournament bracket? Were you guys surprised to see who's in it, who's not in it? Speaking of which, they're going to be in Canada. I'm really surprised All Ego Ethan Page isn't in it, too, because he is Canadian. But with that being said, you guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me see. Punk versus Joe would be epic. Yeah, it would be. Like I was saying, guys, thank you guys all so much for watching. I know it's late where most of you guys are at, but thank you for tuning in. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell so you get notified whenever I go live or release a new video. And I will see you guys Friday after AEW Rampage. Bye.